Hey, it's me again. I'm doing a new video. I think there will be times where there will be no videos for like even weeks, and times where there will be more videos. It's that is really like a personal format where I'm not gonna like basically whenever I feel like I have a view of the market that allows me to make money, I trade it. If not, I don't. And we I mean, a couple of things. Like one is the wallet here is essentially this wallet. So like in 30 days we're up 66,000 so far, um, and we had a big drawdown at the beginning of the 30-day period. We did take some like I wanted to discuss about Tau and how I go about trading this. So Tau, I was lucky to be short Tau. Well, so basically, what happened is Tao got so one of well, first thing first. What Tao is? Tao is like distributed AI. So they have like this network of systems that train AI systems, and they have what they call subnets, and subnets are sort of sister companies within the ecosystem that are independent, but they trade with Tau as the underlying asset, which is very important to understand because that means, and that was my thesis for shorting Tau in the first place. I actually lost money on the short there because I shorted from much lower, well, from like 276 or something. And you can see actually here the short close lost like 11K on this, and you'll see I've made it back up on that. Anyway, uh, the point is when you have an ecosystem that's it's same for Solana, for example, with the meme coins, is when you have a ton of people that buy meme coins, they have to buy it against Sol. And so you have to buy Sol in the first place. Like when someone was buying Sonar or Templar, they had to buy Tau in the first place. Like whenever, like if you have USDC, your USDC is buying Tau and then exchange it for the other currency, which works wonderfully on the way up, but it's also what kills or like impacts the project a lot on the way down. Same for virtuals. All of those ecosystems that have their underlying token traded, that is usually bring a lot of reflexivity on the market. So the way I traded this, so I saw the news, and honestly, it was 4 a.m. So like, I, I was just working. I was like, oh, that stuff is like down 10%. Let me just close it. I did not even read the news, which was a mistake of mine. But then, if we look back at this, what happened in terms of positioning, and then I'll let you know how I traded it. But you basically have like an OI that's up only. So that means a lot of people on the news, a lot of people hedge their bags, um, and and so here on the so here I've got, but I'm not knowing about the news necessarily. Um, and then my point was, you never want to catch a falling knife in crypto specifically. You want to wait for some kind of capitulation, and you had little capitulation up there, especially because like the OI was increasing, and with a OI that was decreasing, like sorry, I'm not sure if I said increasing or decreasing, but I think you got it. My point is, I just did not see sufficient capitulation on the way down, and so for me to get positions and to essentially buy the dip on Tau, which we did, and we can look at this, but we opened along that. All right, there is no. entry price. But I think the long was at the really close to the bottom, like 250, and then we've closed that around the 270. And that was a core execution on this. It was a good scalp. If you're not on Telegram, I invite you to be on joining Telegram. Obviously, that was mentioned on Telegram. I don't mention all the trades, but the one that I think are worthy of taking, I do mention them on the Telegram. There's a link in the description. That thing is free. I have nothing to sell. I'm doing it because I'm committed to have Propr be the number one. Prop firm is I would say is a bad term, but really helping traders get financed across any assets. Anyway, that's not the point. So whenever you have something that's falling, especially when you know the reflexivity of tau, obviously it's per coin, but when you know that Templar and the underlying assets are selling off a lot, tau is a very illiquid asset. So when you have a lot of sell pressure, you should definitely not catch a falling knife, and you should only step in when you have a big liquidation level. So when I stepped in, we had this big liquidation, and then your stop is basically at the bottom of the candle. So the setup I had taken back then, that was earlier this morning, was essentially something. It was really just something like this. So in itself, like not the best risk return, but the invalidation was also pretty wide, and I was okay with it. So we did take home like not sure 10K, which is nothing because we had lost that 10K on the short, but that was more for long term short, and honestly that was bad execution on my end. So now it's about, I've retaken a long, and this time around the long is from 270. So as a trader, you need to be flexible enough to just change your views and be able to retake trades from higher, or just to cut a loss. And then what I did do is I was longing Doge, and I just cut Doge at a loss and then swapped the exposure to Tau. The reason for it is because each margin has an opportunity cost, and so if I'm not, if I'm long Doge, but I know Tau has a higher EV, then I'm going to be longing this. So to me, the main reason for retaking this long is, one, you have a good invalidation. The trade I'm taking is essentially this, or where you have this reversal pattern at the moment, like the asset is just basing off. And the thing that I like the most here is we have ton of hedges, and you can know that these are shorts. These are not. And we'll look at the CVD if that's available here. CVD is, I'm pretty sure it's down. You see, it's down only because the sell pressure here is coming from the underlying spot assets. Like everyone was selling the underlying subnet tokens, and then they sold it off. And so CVD is down, open interest is up. So one would say, okay, it's just long knife catching. But to me, it's bigger players that sold spot, or like just want to hedge up their spot bags. That's the way I read this. So to me, it's likely that some of the OI will come off if we go back to this to 300 would be a crazy level, and you would have a lot of OI that would come off. And invalidation to me is pretty clear. And that trade is, I think you can have a lot of volatility on that trade, and that's the reason I took it. A lot of flip-flopping, I have to say, on BTC recently. I'm not even sure what I did. It was basically just going, I was short. I was short from, I was short. I've cut for like a few, like, relative to the position size, which was like 900K. Basically cut that break even. It was like the gain was like 5-6K. And I flip flop from like going short to long, and I know myself quite well. When I do this, it means I have a very bearish view, so I'm trying to force like the bear side and to take a short. But the reason for, because now we're long like 1,000,000 or something, 900K, sorry, we're long 900K of BTC, and the reason for it is, to me, the news are so bad, but BTC is just not dropping. And it usually means that, the tape is showing you, okay, that thing wants to go higher. And I want a short weakness. I don't want a short strength. That's not really my thing. And so I've tried to short, we did short on BTC specifically. We did short. Can I actually see the fields? Where do I put this? Yeah, show buys and sells. All right, so yeah, that's what we did. I basically shorted here, and then we got omega squeezed there. And then I did cover it, basically break even, or like with a very small P&L. Like, we can audit this stuff, but yeah, closed like at break even. This morning at like 3:30 or something. And then I did close it because it just, to me, I really was bear hold into that range. And I was just not happy we got this hunt. That was not in my book. And so to me, like, if you hold 72, you're holding range highs, and I only want to short range highs if there's weakness that goes into it. And it's not like we're naked long. We're long against a hype short, and I did short Zcash to balance out the long a bit. So the current mindset I have is you want to remain bullish as long as BTC is holding 72. And then, now you can tell me, hey, you're saying 72, but now it's 71, whatever. I've told many times that you have to operate with a lot more flexibility in that type of market, and you'll take bigger losses because your invalidation will be wider, but at the same time, you're not going to be stopped out crazily. The market is still quite choppy. For example, I had said, like, when you're short, your invalidation here is 72,500, and you would have gotten stopped out there. The liquidity hunt was pretty large, whereas it just went back to your entry. So it's a different style of risk management, but I think one that's just more suited to this market. Current view is honestly just, I'm hedging my short with a large BTC long. The market's just telling me that it wants to go higher. We see it on certain alts like Monad, Lighter. I think even Lighter, Hype, Monad, even XPL, I think. So the market just looks like it wants to go higher, and we have STRC with the max momentum on Monday, and we're heading into weekends, and so that weekend is going to be special to me because I'm likely going to keep that long as long as 72 holds. And current mindset is I'm waiting for higher to close out this long, or get invalidated, which is just fine. So the current trade I'm on, I figured like it. To me, I never draw those risk reward stuff, mostly because it's, I've been doing this for a long time, so it's clear to me. But if we look at the 4 hour, we are range highs. The thing is, what makes me rethink a bit is here, that was very tempting, but you had the war still. Here it was merely just a liquidity hunt. We did not stay here for too long. And here we're basing off, we're spending more time there. So I think a lot of people just have to rethink. You don't really want to short range highs if range highs is holding. That's just the way I would trade it. And so to me, it's more likely at this moment that if you hold that 72 range price, you're going to go and chase 75, 76, or even the 80s. My personal plan is I'm not going to be greedy on the long side. It's a bear market after all. But like the thing I'm on at the moment is like a trade that looks like this, where I think a lot of people are waiting for 80s to short, and I'm probably going to step in earlier than this in the 77, 78 if that's given, and I cut my short earlier. You have to be mindful, and you have to just understand where the market is. The market is in a bear market, and you can't be greedy on the long side. You can be greedy on the short side, which I am quite often in this market. But long side is going to punish you so much. For example, if you were long Tau on the way up, and obviously what happened is very specific, but it's important to TP, and there is no such thing as, especially in swing now, there's no such thing as not taking aggressive profit in a bear market. If it's a bull market, again, we have a lot of time. We have a year, we have 2 years, and yeah, sorry, I was just reading something. So you have ample time. So don't be greedy. It's clear it's a bear market. It's not like we switched from bear market to bull market in a few days or a few weeks. You have some squeeze on alts, which is good to see, but realistically, not much. I don't think, unless we see like S&P at all-time high, I don't think we can just switch it on to bull market mode. And if that's the case, we saw it in 2024, 2025. You have time. You'll have drawdowns. ETH went down like 70+% in April of 2025. That's going to happen again. So never FOMO in that type of market. Have very clear invalidation on the long side, I'm going to say, because you can get rolled over really quickly, and still, honestly, do favor the short side, just because mechanically in the bear market, it's just higher EV. So plan, I think, is pretty clear here. I sorry, I did flip flop a lot on the challenge. I mean, just personally, not on the challenge. I did flip flop quite a bit on this BTC, but my base case was that we would drop like we did there, and the fact that we're holding on bad news makes me think the market just doesn't want to like. I would love to go, for the market to do this stuff, to drop there, and I understand we have a lot of CME gaps around here, but reality is if the market doesn't want to give it to me, you just have to fold, and worst case you can just put your invalidation tight, so you're maybe going to be stopped out, but if you're stopped out, probably means that the market just changed a bit. In terms of news, we have, and by the way, we've added the news terminal, or the news interface on the terminal, sorry, plus the economic calendar. So, for example, you see here that in about 2 hours we have, well, that I don't care, but we have the CPI in about 2 hours. That's going to move markets. I think the market's expecting, well, what you see here is the forecast is a higher print, which is led obviously by the rise in prices due to the war. I don't think it matters so much because of how much was priced in by the war, and yeah, just you have to be mindful about your stops, I would say, because it's possible that BTC just wicks down to like 70, but like maybe just gonna reverse. I think we had this at the last at one of the last macro event, and yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Very nuanced today, but current positioning as a summary is long BTC until like 72 holds, and then I'm long Tau for medium reversion trade from the 270 level to like 290, 300, with a stop at like roughly 260.